At almost 200 million miles from the sun, the light is only about a third as bright. This would kill off most crops.
The whole food chain would be broken down if the Earth were to go zooming away from the sun.
If you really play this game, if you get out at the orbit of Neptune, say, you might start freezing out most of our atmosphere.
A nice day is 350 degrees below zero. Nothing survives on the icy surface. The oceans are frozen graveyards. But 2.5 miles below the surface, the water is still liquid, thanks to the heat from undersea volcanoes. Sulfur hydroxide from these hydrothermal vents will continue to feed large tube worms and other exotic forms of chemosynthetic life. Continuing heat from the Earth's core may also help humanity survive in cities below the surface.
Mankind is a very resilient species, and if the Earth were spiraling out on this freezing death orbit, then I think it's very likely that we would find ways to dig in underground. You could use the geothermal energy to convert some of the frozen materials back into the liquids and turn some of the water into oxygen and gases that you need.
Subterranean farms might support a few million people. It might not be pretty, but the planet, and at least a fraction of its people, could survive. But that's not the case with the number 8 way to destroy the Earth, zooming toward the sun, and the Big Burn. Imagine getting 3 million miles closer to the sun every year. The term global warming doesn't even begin to describe the situation. Liquefying polar ice caps? That's just the first few years. The sea level may rise 200 feet, but all that water is about to turn to steam.
If you move to where Venus is, a third of the way in towards the sun, you're going to get to the point where you start losing the liquid water and it's going to be going to vapor. You end up having a carbon dioxide atmosphere and you have a massive greenhouse effect and you end up with a hotter surface than you even would if you had no atmosphere.
From Alaska to Australia, the average temperature is 900 degrees Fahrenheit. All complex life is dead, and the planet itself is headed for a final plunge into the nuclear heart of the sun. Astronomers and astrophysicists have come up with 10 ways to destroy the Earth. And after being smashed and slowly frozen, the planet's on a death spiral into the sun in the number 8 way to destroy the Earth, the Big Burn. Dead, barren, and choked with greenhouse gases, the Earth is now just a few million miles away from the star that once gave it life.
Eventually, all that we would have left would probably just be a big ball of burnt, charred cinder that's moving closer and closer to the sun. And as you got really close to the sun, even that would be vaporized away.
The vapor is going to be moved away by effects like the solar wind. You're going to strip it off. And I suppose for some brief period it would look like a comet.
At last, only the core remains. A 4,300-mile wide ball of iron, nickel, and radioactive metals, as hot as the sun's surface, but 2 million times smaller.
And that's what would end up actually colliding with the sun. And the sun probably wouldn't even hiccup or cough.
To change our orbit so fatally would probably take nothing less than a runaway sun from many light years away, disrupting the gravity of the entire solar system.
The chances that a star will come by sufficiently close and do that are very, very small. But it's not inconceivable that sometime in the next few billion years that will happen.
Disrupting the Earth's solar orbit means a long, drawn-out death. But stopping its rotation would be a very violent end. That's the number 7 way to destroy the Earth, stopping the spin.
If you stop the Earth, but not the objects that are standing around on the Earth, those objects would keep on going. So for example, you would get thrown at a wall at a really high speed.
The Earth is moving about 1,000 miles per hour. And if you suddenly stopped, the atmosphere wouldn't necessarily stop with it. And so instantly you would have 1,000-mile-an-hour wind everywhere on the planet at once.
At the exact same time, vast amounts of built-up rotational friction would be released as tremendous heat.
You would have rocks melting, you would have buildings melting.
Soon, the Earth would be a dead world orbiting the sun.
Our day-night cycle would be dictated by the year, the time it takes for the Earth to orbit the sun. And a day would be half a year long, and a night would be half a year long.
One side would absorb the sun's heat for 6 months at a time, while the dark side would lose heat. There would be 2 seasons, bad and worse.
This difference between the hot side and the cold side is going to end up creating massive wind jets streaming from one side to another, massive convection currents.
From pole to pole, the shadow area between the light and dark sides would be filled with massive cyclones. As the Earth moves around the sun, the 2 12,000-mile bands of extreme weather would churn across the globe.
So every 6 months, every spot on the Earth will have a cyclone season.
Basically, big old hanging mess.
It's a mess that's hard to engineer in reality.
You might imagine it happening if something were to collide with the Earth in just the right way, in such a way that balances the tendency of the Earth to rotate and so on. That collision would have so much energy that the stopping of the Earth wouldn't be our main concern.
As awful as stopping the Earth's rotation might be, it at least leaves our planet as a member of the solar system. But there are dangerous forces out in space that can remove every physical trace of Earth. Like the ultra-dense remnants of collapsed stars called black holes. A black hole's greatest area of danger is its event horizon, a gravitational point of no return.
If something is crossing it, there is no way that it can go back out. It sucks the space-time around it towards itself, so that matter just present in that space-time also gets sucked into the black hole.
A typical stellar mass black hole weighs in at around 5 to 10 times the mass of the Sun. Putting something like that next to the Earth would certainly destroy the planet. But let's make it more interesting.
What if the Earth were between 2 black holes? With 2 black holes, you'd have double the fun.
And that's the number 6 way to destroy the Earth, torn between 2 black holes.
One of the black holes would pull on the near side of the Earth more than on the center, stretching it out. It would also pull on the center more than on the far side, stretching it out as well. The other oppositely directed black hole would do the same thing.
The black holes wrench the Earth's crust, lifting tectonic plates and distorting the semi-solid lithosphere below. Molten magma triggers apocalyptic volcanic eruptions, and the black holes keep most of the ash and dust from falling back to Earth. In the oceans, huge tides rise and never fall. As parts of the planet fall into the black holes, matter and gases turn into deadly energy.
the stuff falling into the black hole will be bursting out X-rays. And these X-rays would flood the planet and kill everybody pretty quickly.